Hey guys, I'm so excited to release this brand new series on how to design this bright, user-friendly, instant messaging app right in Adobe XD. Once we design our app, I'll show you how to turn the app into an interactive prototype using the latest techniques in Adobe XD, and then design and code an app landing page to take our design to the next level. This is a big series and I'm so excited for you all to see it. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so you'll be first to know when new videos are released. Have you done it yet? I hope so. Now, let's get started. First things first, you'll need to set up 3 iPhone X artboards so we already have our 3 UI screens ready to design on. I've added these iPhone X UI elements from the Apple iOS UI kit. In XD, you can get this kit by going to File, Get UI Kits, Apple iOS. Once the iPhone X elements are on all 3 artboards, lock all the layers by pressing Command or Control L so that they don't move around as we design. Now that we've set up our iPhone X screen, we can first design our splash screen, then our messages UI, and then finally our chat UI. As you can see in the Assets panel, I've already chosen the color palette, character styles, and icons in the Symbols library. Keep in mind that the font we'll be using throughout this series is a free Google font called Source Sans Pro. So if you'd like to know how to use Google Fonts for your designs on your computer, be sure to watch my video on that, link will be in the description box below. The app splash screen design is basically the intro to the app. It's the first screen that users see when launching an app and usually consists of a simple brand logo. It's super easy to design. First, hit P on your keyboard to grab the pen tool. We're going to draw a subtle wavy shape near the top of the artboard. Remove the object's border and then fill it with this purple-pink gradient. Now hit E on your keyboard to grab the ellipses tool. We'll draw our second shape. We're not going to draw a perfect circle, we're going to draw a blob. Resize it so that it takes up the middle portion of the artboard, then hit Command or Control left bracket to send it behind our first object. Finally, we're going to draw another blob so that it takes up the bottom portion of our screen. We'll resize it to make it larger so that it fills the rest of the white space on our artboard, and then fill it with turquoise. Hit Command or Control left bracket to send it behind our first purple gradient object. Now I'm going to adjust and arrange the shapes until I get my desired look. Once everything looks good, select the purple and blue shapes and hit 8 on your keyboard to reduce their opacity to 80%. This will give a nice overlapping colors effect. Now select all 3 shapes. We're going to press Shift, Command or Control, left bracket to send the objects to the back so that our iPhone X UI elements are still visible. Finally, hit Command or Control L to lock the objects so that they don't move around as we design our other elements. Now we can move on to design our logo type and logo mark for our app. Hit T on your keyboard to select the text tool. Since this is a messaging app, I decided on naming this app Chatter, with an R at the end because, to make it cool. We want the logo type to stand out, so let's apply our first character style that's white, bold, 62 points. Let's also write a slogan that says, "Say more, do more," and apply this character style that's white, bold, and 20 points. It's always good to have a logo mark to go with the logo type. So we're going to design a speech bubble logo for our Chatter app. Grab the ellipses tool, hold down Shift, and draw a borderless circle that's 56 pixels. We'll fill it with yellow. Then draw another borderless circle and drag it out until it looks like a horizontal oval. On the left-hand side near the bottom, hit P on your keyboard to grab the pen tool and draw a triangle. Press Command or Control left bracket to move the triangle behind the oval. Remove the border on both the oval and triangle, then press Command or Control G to group the objects to create our speech bubble. To make our logo stand out, we'll apply shadows. Select the logo type and set Y to 5 and blur to 10. The black shadows should be at least 33% opacity. Apply the same shadow settings to the logo mark. Finally, group the logo mark objects together and align the logos and slogan near the top center of the artboard. That's our splash screen design. Let's move on and design the Messages UI for our app. First, hit R on your keyboard to grab the rectangle tool and draw a full-width borderless rectangle starting at the top of the artboard that's 140 pixels in height. We're going to add a shadow at the very bottom of this object that has a Y value of -2 and blur value of 20. The actual shadow color is black with 8% opacity. Press Shift, Command or Control left bracket to send the object to the back so our iPhone X UI is visible. Grab the text tool. We're going to write the word Messages twice and groups. We're going to position the first messages in the center of the rectangle and apply the black, bold 23-point character style. Now select the second messages text and the groups text and apply the semi-bold 16-point character style. Starting at the bottom left of the white rectangle, grab the line tool and draw a line towards the center. We'll color it yellow and set its thickness to 4 pixels. Select the second messages text and the yellow line and hit Align Center horizontally in the Align panel. Move the line to the right-hand side, select the groups text, and align it to the center of the yellow line. This design implies that users can switch between all their messages or group chats. Finally, we're going to grab the gray search icon from the symbols library and place it to the right of the messages heading. Below the header area, we're going to design an active contacts section, similar to what you see on Instagram stories or Facebook Messenger. Grab the text tool and write active below the header area. We'll increase the font size to 18 points. Below the active title, draw a 15-pixel circle with a 3-pixel turquoise border and no fill. Duplicate the circle and drag it towards the right-hand side of the artboard. Hit 3 on your keyboard to reduce its opacity to 30%. Finally, we're going to grab a plus icon from the symbols library and place it to the center. With the first circle selected, press Command or Control R to activate the repeat grid. Drag until there are 3 more circles. We're going to add portraits of different people in the circles, similar to how the Instagram Stories area is designed. I've gathered several portrait photos from a great free stock photo site called Unsplash, and I'm going to select 4 photos from a folder on my computer and then drag and drop onto the repeat grid, which then auto places them onto each grid object. Below the active contacts area, we're going to design the contact messages. Double-click on the repeat grid to select an individual circle. Press Command or Control C to copy and then paste it outside of the repeat grid. Remove its border and align it to the left of the artboard. Beside the profile pictures, we're going to write the contact's full name and a message preview. I'll apply the black 14-point character style for the full name text and gray character style for the message's preview text. On the right-hand side, I'm going to write a timestamp of just now. Now select all the elements for this message, activate the repeat grid, and drag the grid handlebar down until there are 4 additional messages. Make sure there's around 44 pixels of padding between each grid item. We don't want each message to be copies of the first. We're also going to change the photo pattern, so I'm going to open up my images folder and then drag and drop my desired photos onto the repeat grid. Now I'm going to go ahead and personalize each message. I was able to add emojis by copying and pasting them from a great site called getemoji.com. Once that's done, ungroup the repeat grid and personalize each timestamp. Before we move on to design the next area on this messages UI, I want to add a message notification below the first timestamp. So I'm going to draw a yellow borderless circle and then place number 1 in the center, which indicates that there's one unread message in this specific chat. We're almost done designing this screen. Grab the rectangle tool and draw a full width borderless rectangle starting just below the last message towards the very bottom of the artboard. Place the object behind the iPhone X UI elements. In the symbols library, I'm going to grab a user icon, a phone icon, and star icon and evenly space them out on top of the rectangle so that we have a touchable navigation area. The star icon is for any favorited chats. One more thing before we move on to our final artboard, going back to the splash screen we designed earlier, copy the logo mark and paste it onto our messages UI. Shrink it so that it's around 45 pixels and place it just above the app's navigation area on the right-hand side. I'm also going to lower its shadow opacity. Right now, it's covering the timestamp, but in the next video in this series, I'll show you how to make it stay fixed in place as the user scrolls down to see their messages. We're finished designing our second UI for the Chatter app. Let's move on to our last and final UI screen, which is the screen for our individual chats. To design the chat screen, we're first going to copy over some common elements from the messages screen. Copy and paste over the white header background and search icon and the bottom navigation area. Remove the shadow from the header background. Remember to move the rectangles to the back so that they're not hiding the iPhone X UI elements. We're going to add a left arrow on the left-hand side. For this chat UI, I want to be able to indicate who the user is talking to, so I'm going to copy the first profile pic from our messages UI and paste it right in the middle of the header area. I'm also going to draw a small green circle with a white border near the bottom of the profile pic to indicate that this user is active. Let's write this contact's name below. We'll apply the black bold 18-point character style. Right below the header, we'll draw a full-width rectangle with a height of 512 pixels. We're going to fill it with a really light blue color. This is the background where the actual chat messages will be, so we're going to lock the layer to prevent it from moving around as we design on top of it. To design our chat messages, we're going to first duplicate the profile pic in our header area and arrange it so that it's positioned towards the left-hand side of the chat area. We're going to draw our speech bubble. To do this, grab the rectangle tool and draw a rounded borderless rectangle that's 220 by 90 pixels with a border radius of 20. We're going to fill it with turquoise and add a shadow with Y value set to 3 and blur set to 6 at 16% opacity. Select the speech bubble, hold down Alt or Option on your keyboard, and drag the top left corner to remove its border radius so that we get the speech bubble look. Finally, we're going to grab the text tool and write a message on top, applying the white semi-bold 14-point character style. We want to make this into a legit conversation, so I'm going to duplicate and modify these chat elements. As you can see, I've changed the profile photo for the second message and added timestamps above the chats. I've also alternated the no border corner from left to right depending on who sent the message. Now we have one more area that we'll be designing for this UI. It's on pretty much all messaging apps. It's the text message input area. Once again, we're going to grab the rectangle tool to draw a white borderless rectangle that's 375 by 68 pixels in the space between our navigation and chat background area. In the symbols library, grab the plus icon and smiley face icon to place on the right-hand side of the rectangle. Grab the text tool and write type a message, a simple yet important element that makes up the text message area. We'll apply the gray semi-bold 16-point character style to the text. Our last step is to add a shadow only to the top edge of our rectangle by setting Y to -10, blur to 10, and opacity to 2%. Before we complete our app, it's good to take a look at your design to see if you can improve its user experience. To add some final UX touches to our app, copy the profile picture from the second message and paste it onto the left-hand side header on our messages artboard. This is for the user to click and access their personal profile. Also, in the navigation area, select the user and star icon and change its color to gray. This helps to differentiate between active and inactive buttons. Congrats guys, you've completed this tutorial. You've designed a splash screen, messages UI, and chat UI right in Adobe XD. Be sure to keep an eye out for part 2 where I'll show you how to turn this app into an interactive prototype using the very latest prototyping features that have been released in Adobe XD. After that, I'll show you how to design and code a responsive website to help market and promote our app. If you haven't already, turn on notifications so you'll know exactly when the next video for this series drops. Subscribe to XOPIXEL if you want to see more design, code, and tech videos just like this one. As always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.